Mikurobada. Midamluganjia. Mifonganjia. Wetowidoganjia. We greet you this evening. We are Axosu Àgèlògbàgàn, and we are wishing that we're greeting and ask how your family is doing. Did you sleep and wake well? That's part of our formal greetings in the H.I.M language. So basically, these little short videos that you see here are about straightening out some things. A lot of people are new to the culture. There's a new wave, if you will, of people coming to African traditions. And a lot of times they don't know how to navigate. And often, to be honest with you, it's not because of lack of knowledge. Even though your knowledge may be minimum at this time, it's really due to the lack of using your ori, the spiritual head, right? The Yoruba tradition is a beautiful tradition, right? Because if you see the statues of the Yoruba people, like any statues of a deity or a person or whatever, the head is quote unquote disproportionate to the body. And so the early European writers were like, oh, they didn't know the golden ratio. They didn't know how to draw a head in relation to the body. That's like one of the easiest things you can do. You know, that shows you the arrogance of this Yovo. It's one of the easiest things you can do. So that means that, and what that means is that they were doing that on purpose because they was trying to show the importance of inner divinity through enlarging what is called the ori in relation to the rest of the body to teach you more about self-divinity. You know, to have that in mind at all times. That way you don't get duped. So this also goes in line of what we say often here in America, using your common sense. It's really using your ori. A lot of these things don't feel right to us, but we go and do them because Reverend such and such said it, or Baba such and such said it, or Iya such and such said it. For instance, when we wrote the article back in about 2009 or something, it's called "Alafia is not an African word, nor is it a greeting, nor does it mean peace." And so we illustrated by language how that word was not African at all. It comes from the Arabic alfia, which is health, or the health. So imagine just walking up to somebody saying the health, you know. And we had a couple of people we respected at that time, tell us that, well, my elder been saying it for 30 years, and you know, it must be right. Totally ignored the scholarship that we presented because they have not been taught to use their ori. If you're dealing with a priest, chief, chiefess, queen, king, whatever, that's not teaching ori and ancestors as the foundation, I'm talking about primary, not just mentioning it, but dwelling on it to a great degree. If you're not getting that, you're not getting real African teaching, and you're also probably dealing with someone who wants to take advantage of your ori. So we said all that to say that there are people, we've talked about this before. Well, as we said in the other video about fake roots readings being done in Africa and also in America, a lot of you are new to what we're teaching. So we want to put this back out, and we want to thank our brother Nsedu for the conversations where he basically reminds us that we need to, you know, in so many words, that we need to, you know, go back to our roots, so to speak, and, you know, and start, you know, make sure that we have these teachings out here, because we went so far since we wrote articles on this stuff and originally talked on it, but we need to go back to it. So there are people saying that they practice Vodun. You know, you hear terms like Orisha Vodun, and just, you know, sometimes they'll use Vodun by themselves. And this applies to anybody this applies to. This video is not about a particular person or group. This it is about the particular person or group if they are involved in these practices that we're talking about. So it's not funny, but the interesting thing about these people is that they have no Vodun shrines. You ask them the proper word for a deity in the Aja phone language, they couldn't tell you. And they may know the word Vodou, or they may use the term Vodun as a term, but that's not the proper word. And those of you that have our books, you know the proper word. And we weren't going to give it, because we know that a lot of them hustle up on our information and make it seem like that they came up with it, but there are some people that may not get the books. So the proper word for a deity is Hun, not Vodou, not Hun. Now we are not Vodun or Vodou. We were misinformed by that some years ago, but we grew. And the thing about how Vodun got to be a word for deity is through the falling from grace of the phone people who made the term popular as a word that means a deity, like the word Orisha is a deity, But Vodou is not the proper word. It's not the original word. The original word is Hun. So somebody probably, look at this video and pass it on to those other people that's claiming Vodun but are not practicing it. And now they have a new word. And if they buy Phone Bay Primer, they probably have a good amount of new words because all of that is correct. Phone Bay. Aja, Phone Bay. Aja Bay, Phone Bay. So the interesting thing is that these people have no Vodun shrines. No Hun. They'll have Orisha representations or so-called shrines, altars and whatnot, but they rarely ask any one of them when they say they're practicing Orisha, Vodun, or when they're practicing Vodun. Ask, hey, what deity is that? If they tell you Yemonja, now in Vodun we do worship Yemonja. Let's get this correct. The Yoruba people are part of a group of people that were all in the same vicinity at one time. In what they call Ife, we call Mawufe. But that doesn't make everybody Yoruba, right? In Vodun, you will see deities like that worship. Why? Because Vodun is the container and it's the oldest tradition on this earth. But you'll never see Yoruba people worship Vodun deities. Never see that. Right? So, we know that Yemonja is Yoruba. Olokun, it's a little battle over where Olokun really came from. Actually, he came from Edo land, But that's still in that Yoruba group. Shango, same thing. Kabiesio. Oya, same thing. Right? Now, you'll see all of these shrines at their compounds or in their houses or whatever, but they're telling you they practice some type of hybrid with Vodun, or they'll say Vodun, and there are no Aplaketes there. There are no Vegida, another Hun, another two deity goddesses. There is no Aido Wedo, another goddess. There is no Tohun. There is no Agwe. Right? There is no Hevioso. And there is no Loco. So that's what we're talking about using your Ori. Your Ori said, wait a minute. I see 16 shrines around here. I know that's Shango. I know that's Yemonja. Okay, I might not know what that one is. Let me ask them. Okay, that was another Yoruba. Okay, that's where's the Vodun? Why we never hear Vodun languages? Any of the Bay so-called languages, Aja, Mahi, Hua, Hulak Bay. Fongbe. Where is it? Why we don't hear that? We never hear. We hear no prayers that you're praying in any of these languages, or no song. It's because they do not have Vodun. They have what they have. The affront though is just that. You're lying. These people are hungry for their culture, and there's a big attraction to Vodun. One reason for that is it is looked at as less corrupted than Isheshe, the so-called Yoruba tradition. And many people look at it as more powerful. This is what we get from talking to people. There are various reasons, but there are a lot of people that prefer Vodun to Isheshe. Here at Ganlodo, we live Isheshe and Vodun, but Vodun is the container. We live real Isheshe, full Isheshe, and full Vodun, not something made up or nothing like or anything like that. So people are trying to cash in on people's desire for a particular tradition, let's say over another one or in lieu of another one, which is just as valid in our opinion, but other people got opinions about Vodun being this and that, over Isheshe. And so people are cashing in on this, you know. And the sad thing about it is that people are getting duped because the person that's telling them this has been in the tradition a long time and XYZ. Another strange thing about that, they're really practicing most of the time Isheshe. That's what they're really in. And then, so they're talking Vodun. It's kind of funny. We have to contain ourselves a little bit. Because you're talking Vodun, but you haven't perfected. No, let's not even go perfection. You haven't even learned 30% of Yoruba language. You don't speak 10% Yoruba language. You know the prayers that you memorized, but the culture you don't really practice. Ori, your good time feeling heart, right? You're at a festival, a so-called festival, let's say Oshun, right? To give you an example about using your Ori. You're at the festival, you with your peers, you finding around people, you know, you especially like you in your 20s, and we're giving you our own example, you know. So this first time I was able to be around people, my peers is in the tradition. Everybody else I had been dealing with before that was father, mother age, you know, old enough to be my father, mother. But it was good because I learned a lot. I was trained well. So you're at a festival, and it's using Yoruba words and singing Yoruba songs, and you're hearing chants in Yoruba. And you go to those festivals over and over, and then your Ori kick in, ours in this case. Why is it that I've never seen African food at any of these ceremonies? I see a chicken box, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I see a bunch of macaroni, greens. That's good. Food, you know, if it's cooked right and it's healthy, it's good. It doesn't have to be African per se. We have at least a 80% African diet for the most part. We don't eat pork or anything like that, but that's another subject. But the question is, why is, you know, the Ori kicks in and like, wait a minute, something's not right about this. Why? There's no egusi here. There's no moi moi. These are Nigerian, primarily Nigerian food. Well, egusi is all over West Africa. There's no akara. Not even akara, fried bean cake. Where is that? That's a delicious, people call it a snack sometimes, but hey, you could really fill up on those things if you eat enough of them. Where is that? You know, where's the okra soup? Where's the Yoruba language outside of your ritual or your song that you just sung? Kini oro Yoruba. Now, no, they wouldn't know what we just said, you know, but this has to stop. And one way it will stop is not necessarily through them stopping, because people that engage in such fraudulent behavior, they have complexes anyway, and they're going to go even harder when they see the truth or somebody saying the truth. It stops through you. It stops through those sincere new Africans like yourself looking at this video that say, you know what? That makes sense. Use my Ori. And that go for us too. Ask us the hard questions, but we're giving you what you need. We're giving you what you need. Some of the stuff you wouldn't have to ask us because we've illustrated it throughout the years. But we invite the questions when they're sincere, Another thing about this Vodun thing is the people that are practicing, and these are mainly new Africans here in the United States, they're practicing Haitian Vodun, and they're presenting it like it's African Vodun. Now let's be clear. Real Haitian Vodun is African Vodun. Real Haitian Vodun is real African Vodun. The Haitian Vodun with the Catholic saints and all that, like that Santeria, it's not Vodun. That's what we would call voodoo. The thing they do in New Orleans, that's voodoo. But you still have practitioners of real Haitian Vodun. And it looks very similar to what we do from the Ajah perspective and what they do with Jeje in Candomblé in Brazil with no saints, and they're using the language. And that's going to be the difference even with the real Haitian Vodun. A lot of times they're really not using their language, they're using Creole. So you have to question what source, what entity are you communicating with in a non-African hybrid language, because these deities don't speak those languages. But at least they have, these people we're talking about, at least they have sense enough to not worship Catholic saints. But there are people that are still practicing whatever version of that Haitian Vodun, and they're having people, they want people to think that they're practicing African Vodun, whether it be the bastardized Haitian Vodun or the more straight up Haitian Vodun. That's Haitian Vodun. You don't hear them say Mawulisa. Mawulisa is the name for the creator. No matter what version of Haitian Vodun they have, you don't hear them say Mawulisa. They don't have Fa. Contrary to what some people believe, they don't have Fa. Fa is part of authentic African Vodun. Now, we have no problem with you new Africanizing your tradition. That's why we believe in the Petro. We believe the Haitians have the perfect right and should have created the Petro, Dom Petro rights. Dom Petro was a new African, right? So that is perfect. We're not here to criticize Haitian Vodun. We're here to let people know that a lot of what these people, so-called seasoned teachers and whatnot, are teaching is not what they say it is. And you need to know that. You may not be practicing Vodun if the name of your tradition is non-African. And you have to make all these stretches to make the word or the phrase new African, indigenous African language. And we're talking about Mami Wata. Mami, mama, Mami. Wata, water. There is no twisting, getting around that, trying to go back to ancient Tamaray, so-called ancient Egypt, Kemet, whatever you want to call it these days. There's no going back and finding some words that come together and make Wata African. If you have a title like Mami Isi, that's not African. And it's definitely not Vodun. In Benin now, they're ramping it up. They're worshiping a lot of Hindu deities. Where they think they are. The slave part of them wants to worship and think they are doing it. But they're not. But anyway, you'll see temples with Shiva and Kali and all these other non-African Hindu deities, all through Ghana, Togo, and Benin. It's really sad. We've seen it, and you can see it online. We've never seen a Hindu with African deities, And no, we're not gonna get into this deity was originally black, and the people of India was black. These people that are worshiping these particular deities, these deities were never African. They were never black. Shiva was never black in ethnicity, if you want to use that term. Krishna, he was black. No, he wasn't. He was depicted with that black color for a reason, with Asian features. The Black Madonna in Europe is black in color because of the basalt that they use, but has straight up European features. Let's just be honest with ourselves and stop playing cultural children of the world. That is our problem. We have, even in coming back to culture, we've become the cultural children of the world. So, what you're seeing now with us, we're trying to just set the record straight on a lot of things. Some people will get it, many won't. Sad to say that. But onto the thing about your tradition having a non-African name, the Ori should kick in. The Ori should kick in and say mama, mommy, mama, water. They pronounce water like that, and I think in Chicago. Yeah, they say water. Yes. So that's all that is. These traditions, these foreign traditions, started to kick in Benin, Togo, and Ghana in about the 1930s, when colonial-minded Africans saw the success of Hindu businessmen. And they saw images of these Hindu deities and whatnot, and mermaid images on white people's walls and whatnot in their businesses. And they started to incorporate this stuff into Vodun. And they would tell you something that started in the 1930s is ancient. But of course, a lot of them don't even know the real history. The Mami Wata thing attracts a certain kind of male and a certain kind of woman, usually, not all the time. It's a feminist movement. But you don't have to make up nothing to empower African women. Use the actual culture that you have. Don't start making up stuff talking about Mami Wata. That's not African. It's very Yovo. It's very European. The men that follow it, they have their little ulterior motives for getting in it. And they are usually of a certain composition within themselves that will allow them to not be stand-up men and challenge, or you don't have to really just challenge it directly, but just say, no, this is not it. This doesn't make sense. It's an imbalance. That's the thing about feminism. It goes from one imbalance to another. Our culture is designed for balance. Period. We don't have to make up nothing. We have women's societies. We have men's societies in our culture. Men egg bays, women egg bays, and none is greater than the other. And each depends on each other. So it's ejiwapo, in what we call in Yoruba, twinness, balance. It's like what the deities Ho-Ho represent, the twin deities. So we pray that you have gotten something from this video and any of our other videos concerning these types of subjects. If you are on our mailing list, feel free to contact us. Many of you watching this, if you're on the blog or whatnot, you have access to us. It is unfortunate that people don't have the access that they wish to have to us, so far as access goes. But we are a Kilombo, and a Kilombo has to be security oriented. And so we feel that the people that are watching this, the people that have purchased our works, those are the ones that know how to contact us. Most of the people that have purchased our works, and that's the only reason it's like that. Because we feel like if you're purchasing our works, you're really probably not on any kind of crazy stuff. So we don't open ourselves up to the general public like we used to a few years ago, because we found out the hard way that the general public did not have any real love for their own African selves. So that is the reason why things are the way they are. We pray that one day things open up and people start showing more love in their heart, and be less treacherous. And then people will have our contact information on at least email wise. But those of you who have purchased publications, you have direct access to us. You can send an email. We'll get back with you immediately. We'll have someone get back with you. And if it is a case of where we see that we should or need to address it directly, we may speak with you personally. We are Axosu Àgèlògbàgàn. Our website is Kilombo Restoration and Healing. The address is restorationhealing.com. 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 Odigba.